I'm saying, suppose the greatest men in the world said man will never fly in a flying machine. Not possible. And you felt you can fly. Would you oppose them?
Oh yeah, I don't care what.
Suppose somebody said you won't see anybody going to the moon for 3,000 years, mister. That's not in our time. And you found out, you felt that it could be done, would you speak up?
Yeah, if I felt it could be done.
And could you understand the people who said, well, I can't see that, you'll never see anybody going? Can you understand why they do that?
Do I understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, they was
Why are they so hard-headed about it?
Open.
Ah, you figure they're pretty hard-headed about ideas. They stick to their own ideas.
Well, what they were taught, right? But
Right.
that's not the way it is.
Right, all right. How do you know, when you're reacting in the way you were taught, how do you know that the things you believe in may not be wrong? You know, if you ever meet a guy that believed in Mohammed, he said there's no God but Allah, and Mohammed is his prophet. And they really believe that. And the Jews really believe that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost are full of shit. Now, the only real thing is the Christ. That is, the real thing is Yahweh, God, their God. And the other God is fake. Jesus is not the Messiah. They believe that, just as sincerely as you believe. Now, there's 125 different gods in the world today. They're very different. They're not the same. If you read the Old Testament, I don't think you read much of the Bible, do you?
No, I don't.
Well, in the old one it says, if a man takes your son's eyes out, you take his eyes out, his son's eyes out. Now, if a man strikes you, beat the shit out of him. And Jesus Christ said, if a man strikes you, turn the other cheek. And if somebody takes your son's eyes out, love thine enemy. See, so the different advices given by different gods are very different. So how can there be one God with all these different kinds of advice? So some of them are full of shit, obviously. If there's one God, it makes a hell of a lot of them. Not dishonest. I mean, they really don't know. They were brought up to think that that's the right way. See? I know somebody said that people are three-faced or two-faced. And somebody recently said that God is three-faced. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. You see, I don't know if you make anything of that. The whole idea, it might be one big fat fraud. It might be. Then it might be real. So when somebody says, do you really know there's a God? You can say, well, no, I don't know it, but I believe there may be. That's all right. You really don't know.
I believe.
Yeah, you believe. Right.
I believe there is.
Right.
But I believe it's all the other religions, it's still the same God.
Yeah, but their words about them are different.
Yeah, different, but it's still the same. There's only one.
All right. Now, what do you think of, do you know what an atheist is?
Yes.
He says there's no God.
Right.
What do you think of atheists?
They don't believe?
Yeah.
I feel that for some reason they choose not to believe. They feel that there is no.
Do you think they ought to be arrested?
Huh?
Do you think they ought to be arrested?
No, I don't think anything should be done about it. I think they should be just left to believe that there is no God if they feel there is no God.
Do you feel that they should have the same rights that religious people have in terms of radio time on Sunday? Should they be given an hour to talk about why they don't believe in God?
Of course, why not?
How come you never hear that?
Change my mind.
How come you never hear that on TV and radio?
Because I don't believe, people are as open-minded as I would be. Some people.
But you said even if atheists were on the air, you still wouldn't believe it.
Right, I wouldn't, they wouldn't change my mind to the fact that I don't think so.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Do you believe you got to believe in God by hearing about it? Well, you never heard of
by personally.
You never heard of God?
No, I heard about it, but...
Somebody told you there's a God. He made the world, and made life, and made the birds, and somebody told you.
Right, I've heard that.
What if you've heard the other story first? What do you think?
I don't know.
All right,
but
that's fair. You don't know.
But,
if you were brought up by a Mohammedan, you'd believe in that God. Probably.
Probably.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the idea is to try to find out what the hell it's all about, as near as we can, if you're interested. Nothing, this of course doesn't matter. All right, what do you guys want to talk about tonight? We're going to talk about things you want to talk about. You're off the hook. That's the end of the show. Do you want to talk about anything special tonight? Since we talk about anything, yes.
I don't know if this is human behavior or human relations, but when a person says, in a relationship, when a person says they love someone, but yet they're not happy in the relationship, what is that person actually saying?
Oh, I'm taking you at your word. So, I mean, I'm assuming that what you're saying is true, just for the question to be answered. You're saying that a person might say to somebody, I love you, but I'd like to get out of the relationship?
No, that's not
what do you want to say?
Well, suppose somebody said to me that they love the person, but they're not happy in the relationship that they're in at the moment.
We'd have to find out what they mean by love. You know, if love to me meant my girlfriend stroking my bald head, if that's what love meant, and she never stroked my bald head, I would not love her. Now what the hell does love mean? What love are you
Well, I
talking
can't
about?
specify it because it's the short.
Well, anyway, answer a tight, hard answer, as simple as the question you asked, is there's no love. Where the person says, I really love you, but I want out. I want to leave. There's no love. That's the answer. Okay? I don't like the answer. I hope there's a better way. That's the way it is. Okay, you want to read that propaganda loud? What is it?
Oh, it says, what will life be like in,
Oh, that.
in the year 2000? Have you seen
Okay,
it?
I've read it.
You've read it, so you don't want it read, do you? No, it's not that good.
Okay. Now you know what life would be like in the year 2000. Okay, what do you want to know beyond that?
They predict here there'll be a decentralized, less powerful federal government
Yes.
by the year 2000.
Oh, that's fine.
You think it's going to be just the opposite?
Yes, of course. What else do you want to know about that?
That was just, I just didn't understand how a person would say one thing and
You
then...
don't? You know what a soft letdown is?
No.
You're too good for me. You ever hear that?
Yeah.
I'm not good enough. Go to California. Okay. I'd only mess up your life. Out. Anyway, do you have any other questions? What's the matter, Clark?
Would you like to talk about something like
I'll talk about anything you want.
computers, how they work internally? I mean, you've made some discussions about robots and computers and how they might work in the future, but
Okay.
the internal mechanism...
In essence,
I'd probably figure that out.
you understand that flashing lights or an on and off switch can mean yes or no. When it's on, it could be yes. When it's off, it could be no. You understand that you can assign a numerical system to any event? Or is that vague? Anything that becomes vague, let me know. Do you understand what I'm saying? A numerical system can be assigned any event. Since you're dealing with numerical systems on a high degree of complexity, I'm going to try to simplify it. You're dealing with numerical systems on a high order of complexity. Therefore, if you put in numerical systems and have the equivalent, meaning social events, related to it, you can call upon numerical systems and equate them with social events. If you put social events in the machine, it becomes too complicated. If I say, suppose there are 10 people in this room, or 15, and I write everyone's name down, or I start and call him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's much easier to keep on a computer. Now, if I'm interested in the fact that he's a carpenter, I'll put 1 and assign the term carpenter 1. So I just have a simpler system. Now this could mean that he's a carpenter and a mechanic and a machinist. Whatever I want it to mean, is that right? 1 could mean anything, a number. So you assign numbers to events. And you store them in a numerical system associated with events. The way they work is essentially like a circuit, an on and off switch, which could represent the amount of on and off from 1 to 10. Now with 1 to 10 you can do all kinds of variations. Are you familiar with the abacus? The old Chinese counting device? Well, the computer is essentially an electronic extension of that, with a numerical equivalent for events. Now, simply stating a program is something like this. I'll make it real simple. These are just holes built up. This is a wire coming in, and all this is the return circuit. Is that all right? This is a single wire, and all of these wires go back to the return wire, single wire, right? Now I can connect these any way I want to. I can run a plug into that and one into that, and that's a closed circuit. Well, I can pull this out and put it in that. If I put it in that, the word job will be there. If I put it in this, mechanics go on. Do you know what I'm talking about? Is that too big? Whatever word I want. I can cause the light up by changing this plug. Can you picture that? What do you have difficulty with that? All right. You know how the telephone company works? This buzzer, I put a insert into that when the light goes on. All right. When in programming a computer, if I had a panel like this and a picture here of the human skull like that. Let's see what it is. and there were indicators here, you know, and there's a button, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I would have pressed the button when the different words went by here. So scalp, throat, cranial case, and I pressed the button when that word went by. Is that all right? All right. The word cranial case has an electrical contact down there when it's up. And if I press the button when the contact's on, that'll go through. And if it goes through, it says correct. Okay? Now by changing that pitch and putting something else in there, something you're very familiar with, the old map of the United States, say, and this light goes on, or this light goes on, and I press Los Angeles. Do you know what I mean? Then this light goes on, I press Oklahoma, and it says wrong. By rewiring this basic system, I can wire it so I can correlate it with the states as we've named it, or I could do any other thing by changing this. I can reprogram it. I can either pull out the plugs and shove them in, or I can put a card in, a perforated card, which does the same thing. I don't know if that's clear. How perforated programmers work. They're not clear? You understand that if you got a button here, and you dial 17893, or say 145, all right? You get a telephone number. If you had a key with 4 notches in it, and say 1 notch here and 5 notches here, and you shoved that key in an electronic slot, as you shoved it in, and a spring pushed it back out, it would dial the number for you. Do you understand that? Then you can put magnetic tape in there and pass it by a magnetic head, and you get a number for you. What computers are about, they don't represent the truth or reality or anything. They only represent what you program into them. And no computer can represent reality, because a computer cannot represent an undefined term. I don't want you to think that thinking machines can be intelligent. They can't, because you have to define your terms first. If you ask a computer, the computer says the average American receives $17,000 a year. You say, gee, that's pretty good. But if you went around talking to most Americans, they don't receive anything like that. I don't know what that means. There's 1.5 babies born every second. What the hell's a half a baby? You know what I mean? Well, statistics don't make sense in many areas. They're insane if you try to eat those figures. You know what I'm talking about? That the average person has 3.5 eyes. You know what do you want to do with things like that? Well, the average lifespan. I'm not interested in that. I'm really not interested in that. Because people live longer in Hawaii than anywhere in the world. So when they figure out the average lifespan, they include in the world all the areas. You don't know where you're at. All I want to know is what the lifespan is in Dade County, because that's where I'm at. And I want to know what the incidence of lung cancer is in Dade County. And I want to know how many sharks attack people on Key Biscayne, not average in the world. You know, very few Eskimos are attacked by sharks because they're all swimming right now. I'm not, statistics, when put in that kind of category, I don't care for it. Now, a lot of people love it. I mean, it's great. You know, 1.5 alcoholics. What's a half of an alcoholic? So there's a lot of crap. And the reason for it is to conceal something. I wonder if you understand that. When you give the average income, you're concealing a hell of a lot of information. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Information like what? What did we conceal?
Well, suppose half of us here make $10,000 a year, see? And the other half make nothing a year. I can talk about the average income. It wouldn't make sense, though, would it? That's what I mean. It tends to conceal things. And you can just go on, it's easier to describe that this man has coronary thrombosis, that he has an infection of the liver. This is the truth, I'm saying. If you went around just saying that, don't say 1 in 10 are going to get this kind of disorder. It's much better to announce it